don't know what I'm talking about. I can't.
I think we've learned that.
We've come to that conclusion early.
We've confirmed that. That's been confirmed multiple times.
I can't pick a game to save my life. Like I can't. So anyhow, Eric EJ, great to see you in this Champions Week. Like, holy mackerel, we're here.
This is it. This is exciting, right?
Yeah, this is big time.
It's exciting.
Although there's some controversy around this year's pool or this year's brackets.
I get it. I get it. There's some like lopsided matchups and some weird, week or second day matchups and stuff like that.
I've said from the get-go,
I don't understand the MPI.
I don't either. I'm fully. I've read everything, and I'm like, what?
Well, I haven't. So more power to you for reading it. I haven't read it, but I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me when you get teams that are like 8-5.
Yeah.
And they beat nobody. They have like one good win.
Yeah.
Like, how are you? I'm not saying you're not a good team, but why are you deserving?
And other teams where you're like, they're a very good team. They're 15-3-4 or whatever it is, and they don't make it. And you're like, man, they did something during the season that is pretty remarkable in its own right, and then they get totally ignored. I just think that.
So like here's an example. Scranton and Catholic. Yeah. Okay, both undefeated. Scranton lost in lost in PKs in the semifinal of the Landmark, and Catholic won it. Yeah. Okay. Scranton is hosting.
Yeah. Catholic is driving.
They're playing number 3 St. Joe's of Long Island. Catholic, who won the conference, also undefeated, is going to Cortland to play Amherst.
Yeah. Easy.
And then if they win that, they get Cortland.
Yeah, easy.
Like what?
I don't.
Why? Well, because Scranton is 1 point higher.
Literally 1 point higher. Right?
Well, one position higher.
Not
point
even
wise,
points.
it's like 0.02 whatever.
0.0. It is 0.02. No, 31. 0.031 points higher than Catholic.
Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Catholic deserves a better draw.
Like I said, I did this last year. I'm going to do it again because it's so. I think the contrast between, I think you take like your top 8, and you basically fill in. You're in the first bracket because you're number 1, and you're hosting, right? And you just sort of do a distribution across the entire bracket. So all of those top 8 are kind of separated and wouldn't meet until. And then everybody else is draw from the hat. We're going to start at the upper corner quadrant, and we're just going to work around. And that's the only way you dispel with all this. Now you think it's kind of you think some of the teams have been, again, shafted, right? Like here, Catholic has won the conference tournament. Shouldn't there be a reward for winning the conference tournament? The reward, is the automatic qualifier, and then after that, you could be screwed, right? Like it's just sort of okay,
right? And losing in or not losing, but not advancing out of the semifinals, and you get a home game, you get to host.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to. Again, I am sure if I have a conversation with Coach Bianco at Denison, like he'll explain this stuff to me.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then how is it that again? And this some stuff on X about teams hosting teams that they play in conference, like, or could end up hosting a team that they play in conference. Like what, especially the Midwest teams, right? Like to me, it just doesn't seem. I don't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't seem like a formula for making this like really cool soccer experience. It just seems like you're doing math behind the scene and being like, "What's the cheapest way to get? Oh, let's make Catholic drive to PA and Scranton host because then Long Island. I don't
Right.
know. It doesn't make sense to me. But I am not the sharpest tack in the box, like so. I just kind of let it go.
Yeah. There's smarter people than me that have
Yeah.
better ideas on how to do this, and
But
I'll just shoot holes in
yeah,
in their
but
ideas. Like, not,
having
I'm like,
said that, the games you have chosen are actually some of these games. I recorded as it was going on are some really interesting matchups, like really tight. Like these are real toss-up games, I think.
well, and that's what I tried to do. I mean, I had two options here. I could have gone with, let me find what should be the most competitive first round matchups, or let's go with the games that are not going to be close and see if we can get the
Yeah,
scores right. Like what's Tufts Penn State Harrisburg going to be? Is that going to be 5-0? Is it going to be 3-1? That's one way of doing it. Or do I pick teams like Babson and Oneonta?
yeah, yeah. That is that. There are some. I like these are coin toss games, I think. And I was looking at them like, even the ones where you could say, and we'll get to them, where you're like, under normal circumstances, I would say this is a lopsided game and that not a chance. Like one team does not have a chance. But this is not that year, right?
Yeah, right, right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 games that I didn't put in that I really wanted to, and I almost thought about making this instead of 10 games, 12 or 13 games, but I didn't.
I will say for anyone who is watching, I don't care the MPI results. Mount Union got robbed again. So we can continue. Now that's caveat, we sort of dispense with that. We are.
Did you have a good visit
Oh,
back
I
to
did. I did. It was
back to the hill or whatever
yeah,
we're calling it?
Alliance.
Alliance. Yeah, thank you.
It was actually really cool. I went to the football game, which is funny.
Are they going to win again this year?
They're already
I know they used
conference champs for the 9th time in a row, like the 35th
okay.
time where they've won it or shared it.
Right, they used to win
yeah,
everything. I haven't followed Division III football in a while, but they used to win all
they
the
are
time.
10-0,
Mm-hmm.
and if you go on the boards, it's clear. I know nothing of football, so they clearly people
Throw
are not
ball?
happy because they're 10-0 and they're not like I'm confused. So
Because what? They're not playing. They're not playing.
they're not
The right
playing
way.
great. They're not thumping teams enough. There's some guy posted like the score differential, like, hey, you Mount Union in 2015 scored 50 points more than their opponents. This year we've outscored our opponents by 36 points. 36 every game, 36 points. 36. We've outscored, and that's not good enough. That's not. Welcome to Raider country. Like,
Is his name Raider of old?
yeah, Raider. I am the number one Raider. And I don't know. I don't know enough. I don't pretend to know. I watch. They are very, very good. I don't watch them all the time, so I don't have anything to judge. But
Where are all their players from? Are they from like Western Pennsylvania, Ohio?
yeah, but also Florida, Texas. They get a lot of
Okay.
kids who are
Yeah,
like
they do.
real
Okay.
football, like really want to
Right.
go. And again, you're playing at Mount Union. Look, I mean, the chances are of making it to a semifinal, NCAA semifinal,
Right.
is pretty darn high. Like the odds of you doing that is pretty pretty high just based on the history, right? And so I
Right.
think it attracts a lot of kids. I will say one thing, another thing is cool. For those who don't know, I am the president of our varsity alumni group. It's called M Club, and we host the Hall of Fame. And I was the MC.
Did you nominate
I was.
yourself?
All I did was talk about myself. They were like, I don't want to talk about
You
these guys.
nominated
Let's
yourself?
talk about me.
When I was
Yeah.
playing,
I showed them the ranking from 5 weeks ago when I was number one. I was like, see, I'm even there. But
you just lost
yeah,
all
yeah, I
credibility
totally
with
did,
them. They're like,
totally did.
yeah, who's this clown?
I inducted. I mean, some remarkable, like these guys are like, I inducted a 1978 men's soccer player, which was really
Okay.
cool. Turns out he's
Contemporary?
78. Yeah, not quite. He turns out he's from Barcelona. We spoke Catalan, Spanish.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
his son-in-law
All
is
right,
from
yeah.
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
And
Barcelona.
then I inducted, did the formal induction myself. I partnered with a past president of this group. I don't know if the name rings bells. Cecil Shorts. He's a wide receiver.
No.
Played 7 years in the NFL for, I think, the Commanders. I was going to say Redskins, but I don't want to get banned by YouTube.
The Redskins, yeah.
And had a pretty successful career. And so I got to induct him. And so I'm feeling pretty
Okay,
proud of
nice.
myself.
Oh, good for you. How does somebody from Barcelona end up in Alliance?
I
Ohio?
asked him that. He said, I guess he had moved to Ohio just before he was
Okay.
in high school and he wanted to play.
Right.
And Mount Union called, and so that's how it ended up. He liked it, and that's how it ended up. Turned out, yeah.
I didn't know if like the Mount Union coach was like, walking the parks in Barcelona saying, how'd you like to come to Ohio?
No, I don't think it
You're
happened
good.
that way, but that's a cool one.
No.
I should tell him. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you should tell
Yeah.
people you were spotted in the park somewhere kicking a ball against a wall.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Exactly.
So,
Mhm.
anyhow. All right.
All right.
Let's jump into this.
All right.
Because this is good.
All right. I don't know if this is the order that I gave it to you in, but this is the order I have it written down. Hobart Messiah. Hobart, undefeated.
Undefeatable. Yeah.
Struggling to score
Yes.
as of recent, it looks
Yes.
like. Bunch of 0-0 draws recently, 1-1, 2-1. Messiah, after their 0-5 start to the season, turned it around. But granted, their schedule second half of the season is not very strong. They've only given up one goal in the last 8 games.
This is where I'm going to say something that I really, and I'm a big fan. I love the way they play. They try to play. They're really intentional with the ball. They're not just hoofing it all the time. But I don't. This is a game where I was just sort of like, I'm not sure which team shows up.
Well, and this is why this one's so
Yeah.
interesting. Like, it's Messiah. And I know we say that all the
Yeah.
time, and people probably roll their eyes when we do. But until you prove otherwise, they're still Messiah. If Hobart beats them 4-0, okay, the king is dead.
Correct.
But if this goes to PKs or it's 1-0, it's just a down year for Messiah as far as I'm concerned.
I will say I thought they looked good against Stevenson in stretches. I do think they have a problem with goals, like where they find the goals. Like they don't have Matt McDonald running the wing anymore, can sort of outpace anybody, and I just
Dude, that too was so fast.
lightning. Congratulations, he just got married, I think. Yeah, I
Oh,
saw a
good
picture.
for him.
I don't know. But yeah, so I'm not sure which Messiah shows up, and I will say, this is the part that's interesting, right? Neither team scores well. They're
Right.
both gonna. I mean, this could totally be like 0-0 going into penalty kicks, and missing 3 penalty kicks and going like it's gonna. They're only gonna score 2, right? Like it just each.
Right.
I totally can see that. But I think it'll be a good soccer game. Like between the 18s, I think it's going to be a really interesting match, like, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
What do you think of Hobart, though? Like, is Hobart for real?
I I actually think so. I think they're real, and I think because they have gone through the season, and I don't think there were any games that were really. I'm looking at their schedule. Maybe the
I
Ithaca
mean, they didn't
game.
have
Maybe
a.
the Ithaca game where it looked like it was in doubt. But I'm not quite. I think most of the games you were like they. I always thought that they were the better. They just, I think, have
They,
trouble scoring.
they didn't have a tremendously tough schedule. They played Rochester and tied them.
They beat
I'm
Vassar.
looking at a
They tied
conference.
Vassar.
They tied Vassar. They beat
Beat
Vassar.
Ithaca.
They they tied Buffalo State.
Drew,
Um,
landmark
Drew,
finalist.
beginning of the season. Yeah, yeah.
I think right. I think if again, if you're matching up Hobart Messiah, like that's where they are. They're both like
Right,
right there.
right.
I just think it's gonna who can get the goals. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm more convinced. I'm more confident that Hobart can find goals than I am a Messiah.
Yeah, this could easily be a 1-0
Correct.
game or a 0-0 goes to
Correct.
PKs, right?
But I would if
Yeah.
Hobart comes out ahead because they get 1, 2, 3 goals. I wouldn't not. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. So
And they're home, so
yeah, I think they have. I think they. Yeah, I think they have what it takes. Again, I think which Messiah ends up showing up for this one. I don't know. I don't. This is not a walk in the
yeah.
park. In other words, like this is a
No,
tough match to be drawn into your first. Like I wouldn't want to play. Like honestly, like if I were the coach, I'm like I get to pick anyone. I don't want to play Messiah.
yeah.
Like that would just be hard. That's a hard game to compete against just because of the way they play. Now there's what things you can do, but it just it's. I think it's hard. I think it's hard. So
It'll be interesting.
all right, next up.
Next up, Oneonta Babson.
This is another one. This is another one. Like I don't know why you do this to me. Oneonta, because they're what Suniac? Did they get the automatic on that one? Who got the automatic? Was it them? Yeah, they beat Buffalo
Yeah,
State, right?
yeah. They beat
Yeah,
Buffalo in the
yeah, yeah,
final. Yeah,
yeah. I, let me look at the.
so they beat Buffalo in the final. They tied Buffalo in the regular season. They um, tied Cortland in the regular season and tied them in the tournament as well.
I my only thing about where I'll say about Babson in this game is I just don't think they were terribly consistent throughout the year.
No, well, they were
Yeah.
not. They win
Yeah,
lose,
all over the
win
place.
lose lose
No
lose win
momentum.
lose win
It
win
just
lose 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 win lose.
yeah.
Right.
So like they could show up and not be the team you think that they're going to be, right? I thought when they came out against they played Coast Guard, I thought they looked good. Like they were like, hey, they looked like a real team. But that was
So
one game, right? You can't say that for every game that I've watched. I did watch him play
so here
Wheaton, and Wheaton beat him, and I thought Wheaton had more chances too. So
they're out of conference schedule. Occidental tournament team,
yeah,
UMass Boston tournament team, Wesleyan tournament team, Roger Williams tournament
T-
team, Amherst tournament
Tufts
team,
tournament
Tufts
team. Yeah,
tournament team. I mean, it's out of conference. They played 6 teams that are in the
yeah,
tournament. They're battle
yeah,
tested.
yeah, yeah. But like, and maybe that explains the. Those are hard games. I mean, those are hard games to deal with throughout the season, and maybe that explains the inconsistency. But you sort of do want you. I would have looked that end of September, the September run, Roger Williams, Brandeis, Amherst, knowing how
Lose,
Amherst
lose,
has
lose.
been
Yeah.
doing. Brandeis, that was probably when everybody was like, oh, look at Brandeis. These guys are really good. And Roger Williams, okay. I would have looked for a point, like them to tie a match, to get something out of it.
Yeah.
I would have just, I think
Yeah.
then I think I'd be a little bit more confident.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really beat
No.
anybody. I mean, they beat Wesleyan in the beginning of the
Yeah.
year. I kind of write off a little bit, games the first
Yeah.
2 weeks of the season. They beat Wesleyan 1-0 beginning of the season. They beat Oxy
Yeah.
2-1 beginning of the season. And then after
Well, that's
that, they
the
didn't
new
really
Mac,
beat
right? Like I
anybody.
think that's what. I mean, they have to deal with the cards they're dealt with, but
Right.
so. And I think on the flip side, I think Oneonta does play a tougher schedule, right? Like I mean, they run across Cortland, Buffalo,
Conference
New
schedule.
Paltz
Yeah,
this
fair.
year was
Right.
good, right?
Fair.
Um,
Right.
do they do? Was it Delhi? Yeah, they didn't play him this year, but
No, Dallas is not in the
so
Soniac.
yeah, no, I know. I just thought they might have played. They were not bad. So
But this is another interesting
yeah,
matchup.
I think Babson defensively might be really. This is where I think they could end up winning it, right? Like it's defensively just really shutting down Oneonta, and at least giving themselves the opportunity to actually win it. So. But
Hmm.
I think defensively they have to come out and they have to lock it down. I don't think they can give Oneonta any breaks 35 and in. So. All right.
All right, next one. Roger Williams, UMass Boston. Where? So Roger Williams is what, 49, UMass Boston 58
On the MPI.
on the MPI. Roger Williams has one loss,
Yeah, 13-1 and
an
6.
uncharacteristic, weird loss, 3-0 to Hartford.
Yeah. I'm gonna make full confession. I didn't watch either of them. And I should have watched Roger Williams. And I never did catch a game of theirs. Uh, having said that, Roger Williams is having a season like they got a lot of momentum and a lot of
Oh, this is their best
feel good
season
vibes going
ever.
into this. So I could totally see like we're super stoked and we're going to go after this game, and that I think that could be the advantage. That is totally
And here's something else. I don't know if it carries any weight or momentum. The conference semifinal and final were both PKs.
oof. Getting a little wobbly in the knees there, like ooh,
Well,
starting to matter,
or
right?
are they right? So I don't know. That's
Do
what does that
they?
tell you? Does it tell you, yeah, that they're starting to wobble, or are they,
Do they
you
do that?
know,
They
doing exactly what they need to do?
do they get the
You're going to lock down UMass, and
do they get the automatic qualifier through the
they did.
penalties? Right. Like that's how. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why the penalties go to penalties largely. Well, to find the winner, but
right,
also because the automatic qualifier is on the line.
right, right.
Question is, do they make it? If they don't, if they didn't win,
My guess is they wouldn't
yeah,
have because they're 49.
yeah, yeah,
That would have dropped them to 51 or
yeah,
something, which would have put them out.
yeah. Interesting. Like I said, I think Roger Williams is like, this is friggin' awesome. Let's go. Let's play with
Yeah,
joy. All that corny stuff that I like
right.
to talk about. You
And
know?
and they got a good
Yeah.
matchup here. They have a
Oh,
winnable game
totally,
here.
totally, totally. I
It's not like they have to go play,
no,
Williams
no,
or
no.
whatever.
They're not. They're not. Hey, we get to play Dickinson right out of the gate.
Right. Yeah,
Like
exactly.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I still
All
don't
right,
under. I'm
next
looking
one.
at the MPI stuff. I still don't understand it. I still don't
I
understand it.
know. It doesn't make any
Whatever,
sense to
whatever.
me.
Let's not go down that road. We're having a joyful time, you and I, speaking about how I'm going to win it this week
Um,
and then take the title.
so the next one is the one I actually talked about a little bit earlier, Catholic Amherst.
I'm going to say something I haven't said in my time doing this. I like Catholics' chances.
Because they're good or because Amherst
I
is down?
think there is a combination of I think they're good,
Hmm.
and I am not sure Amherst is all that this year. I think they are obviously very, very vulnerable. And I think defensively, where they would never be. I mean, what is being asked of us if you're, I'm not an Am hater, but what is being asked of us right now is that you're defending national champions who had a pretty lethargic entire season. Something totally changes, and now they're going to have this just great run at the NCAAs, which is totally possible. But I just don't think they have the soccer within them to do this. And so they might win this game. Don't get me wrong. This still might be their game to win. But if I'm Catholic, I'm like, this is the first opening round where you're like, oh my gosh, we could we could win. We can win this. And then what do they do? Is it Dickinson? No. Who do they play?
No, it's
Oh
Cortland.
yeah. Then they
Yeah,
go
the
to and
Cortland.
then they play
It'll be Cortland.
Cortland, and then it's like second
Right.
rounder. That becomes a little tough, especially if it's Cortland. But you get some momentum because you just beat the defending national champions. I don't know. I like my odds. If I'm a Cardinal, which I kind of am. Here, contrary to popular opinion, look at that.
There you go. Look at you.
I have way too much Division III stuff lying around here. Like what? Oh, and you see that
So
right there? Wait. Hang on.
what
Let's go,
is
Red
that?
Dragons.
Is that? There you go, Cortland. Nice. So you'll appreciate this story. So my 80 some odd year old parents, I asked them the other day, you guys got any trips coming up because they like to
Uh
travel.
huh.
Like, yeah, we're going to Holland. I go, really, Holland? And I was like, well, Holland, Michigan. And I go, oh, you're going to Hope College? They're like, why do you even know that Hope is Holland?
That's exact. I'm like, ooh, the Flying Dutchman of Hope. Like it's like
Exactly.
I do that all the time.
I guess
I'm
there's
like the weird dude. I'm like kids are probably like,
Oh, I
"Oh
am
my
too.
God, Dad, stop!" Like,
Yeah. There's a big tulip festival apparently in Holland, Michigan
and
in
you're like,
May, and they're
"Oh,
going, and I'm like, oh,
NCAA's,
you should go stop by
yeah,
Hope. It's a beautiful
beautiful
school.
school."
Like, how do you know that?
You can
Like,
you can
don't
be
start.
like, I know a guy who's advisor for my thesis is was like the founder of like the Dutch immigration history department at at Hope College. Um,
There you go.
the That's actually pretty funny. That is actually
I
pretty
know,
fun.
right?
You know, I go when I'm like at store. I'm that weird dude. Like I was saying, like I'll be in a store and somebody will be like, I had a lady where I was getting a coffee. He comes in with like Tufts medical school or whatever, school of medicine. And I looked
Right.
at her and I go Jumbos. She's like, oh, you went to Tufts? I'm like, no, I don't go to Tufts. But go Jumbos.
That's funny. I mean, I'd be a little bit more impressed if it were like, somebody
Oh,
from like,
Juniata. Saw somebody
yeah.
wearing
I
I
mean,
saw
Tufts is
somebody
pretty
wearing a
big, but
JC baseball cap. I'm like, oh, Juniata. Love that place. He's like, what? You know Juniata?
beautiful field. I did a Field of Dreams,
Yeah,
great
yeah,
stadium.
yeah. It's just remarkable. I love that. It's too
Oh, pretty
weird.
funny.
Too weird. Anyhow. All right,
Yeah.
Catholic Amherst. Like I said, I think this is a game I
Yeah.
like Catholic's chances. And I know.
You know, I, yeah. At first, I was thinking, well, it's the NESCAC and it's Amherst, and they're still going to win anyway. But looking at Amherst this year,
It's
they
I agree. That's
I don't know
yeah.
why.
To the
Um,
dogs.
I mean, their schedule from September 10th: win, tie, win, tie, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win,
Yeah.
lose, win, lose. Like they've got no
No.
consistency,
None. None.
and they haven't beat anybody.
And yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? The teams when they have played, you're like they've lost. They've lost pretty solidly. Like it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't competitive because they did compete. They did go out and all that stuff. But you're kind of like you knew who the better team was. I mean, they let Bates put 3 in on them, right? Like, yeah. And I just there's just too much. There's just too much of that. I think is where you're just kind of like, are
Yeah.
you guys even into? Makes me. I'm not saying anything. I don't know anything. I'm not. Again, not. It makes you wonder. Like, is there something else going on where you're like, this is so far afield from what we're
Well, what's
accustomed to from Amherst? And granted, that yes, they are national champions, but
they're
yeah,
young, they're
yes,
rebuilding, blah blah blah. I mean, I get it.
they lost Enmore
I guess
Kitten. Like that's a big loss,
right,
right?
but Catholic. I mean, yeah, they're undefeated, but I don't know. I don't feel like they've tested themselves as much as they used to.
No, I think the schedule from 2 years ago when they actually went to the second round, I think, and lost to
Right.
Messiah. Maybe I can't remember. Like it was, I think, a lot tougher than where
Right.
they're at now. I just I don't know if that was by
So I don't.
design or what, but and I again, and this is terrible, and all the Cardinals are gonna not like me for this, but I put Catholic in that category of programs that I think should be better than what they're.
Right. Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about that.
I just
Yeah.
do. I have a higher expectation of them
Right.
than I would a Drew, and I like Drew, but a Drew, right? Like Drew should always be okay, good, and then I think I I've thought about this a lot. Like to me, a team like Catholic, the thing that makes the NESCAC so great is that those teams, like outside of the conference, are just they rock, right? Like it's hard to stop NESCAC teams. Catholic to me always just struck me as a really good landmark team. Like in the conference,
Right.
that, hey, look, they won the conference, and they don't necessarily export out very well outside of that. So
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trying to be positive. I turn over a new leaf because all of them are falling. The ones that I've tried to turn over have all fallen off the tree. So, all right.
All right. Let's go. Let's go up here. Lake Forest and Luther.
Luthor. Lex Luthor. I like this match. And I know Luther, I've watched him quite a bit. I have not watched quite a bit of Lake Forest, but Lake Forest is clearly doing something right. On the men's and
Yeah, what are they,
women's
16
side.
and 1 or whatever?
They're 16-1.
What is
Their
Lake
women are
Forest?
16 and 0,
yeah.
I think. Undefeatable. They're
19.
19.
They're 19 and 1. Jeez.
Yeah.
19 and 1.
My own,
with the one loss coming to Whitewater.
yeah, who happens to have made the tournament this year.
Yeah.
Are having quite the year, even though they, yeah. My only issue is I think they only played one top 100 team or two.
Yeah. Right.
Calvin by far being the most superior they beat, and then they lost to Whitewater. That was the other one, and so.
But they're doing what you need to do.
Correct.
They're not giving up a lot of goals. They kind of blew through their conference. I mean, they won their conference games 4-0, 3-0, 5-0.
Oh, yeah, and then they won the final 4-0. Like without a doubt, they're top of their conference. I like just playing wise and all that. They just
now Luther's interesting.
Very.
They were very good a couple of years ago, and they're still good, but nobody's talking about them.
No.
They've only lost 2 games early in September, and it was a 4-2 loss to Gustavus Adolphus and a 2-0 loss to Augsburg,
which are not bad. Like okay, I totally accept that. Both of those teams are ranked very high. Like okay, I understand that.
I mean, granted, they got 7 ties, but
look who they've tied, right? They tied St. Olaf. They tied Eau Claire. They tied Loris, who had a pretty decent year.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like Wesleyan. The 2 ties, Wesleyan and Simpson. Maybe not, but it's not a bad run. It's like a really positive run, and you could say like, look, they beat Wartburg, which I think is always a battle. I mean, the last few years, I think Wartburg's the one who's gotten the automatic qualifier, and I will say, like, I'd like again Luther. I just like the way they play.
They're not scoring a lot of goals though.
No.
Someone's going to have to step up.
I think goal different, like outside of the anomalies, I think they're like a 1-goal team, right? Like,
yeah,
if we're gonna win, we're gonna win by 1.
Yeah, there's a 5-0 win, a 6-0 win. Everything else is one goal.
1, 2-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And Lake Forest, again, I think the hard thing about Lake Forest is that it's just hard to judge for me.
Right, and that's what makes those teams interesting. The teams from we'll call it the mid majors, right? If you were to think about the NCAA, the basketball, you get these mid major schools that are 19 and 1. Like, okay, you're not getting in with the automatic bid at 15 and 5. You're 19 and 1.
Which is still remarkable.
That's a big difference.
Dismiss that,
right?
Like it's still
right.
remarkable.
That's a difference, though. That's what I'm saying. If you get in because you won the automatic bid at 15 and 5, okay, you're not as exciting. But when you are 19 and 1, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I agree. This will be one. I'll watch this one. I'm intrigued. Like, I want to get the coach from Lake Forest on as well, or the coaches, actually, the women, again.
There you go.
Um,
A twofer.
yeah, them and Edgewood, which I think we speak about later. But
Oh, we can talk about Edgewood
okay,
now. Edgewood, and Gustavus Adolphus.
the Edgewood has been doing something for the past few years. I've been told this. I
Right.
think I mentioned this in previous times.
Yeah.
Like they have been building a program for a number of years now, and so this is like the culminate, not the culmination. You don't want it to end, but like the culmination of all of this work and all this play is suddenly is starting to materialize this season. And so in that regard, I mean they're carrying a lot of positive momentum. Like they were not here 3 years
And they
ago, right?
and they're getting in on their
Yeah,
merit. They didn't win the
yeah,
conference.
yeah. Like they're legitimately and they're legitimately right. Like playing teams, right? Like they're legitimately playing some decent teams. They
They played some
yeah,
good teams.
all of the Wisconsins, right? Eau Claire, Platteville. They obviously played MSOE,
Twice.
Augsburg, like you know. So
I mean, they played Kenyon and John
yeah,
Carroll. And granted, both have a down
yeah.
year, but they're still
But they're
good
still
teams.
good. They were still good, still tough
Right. Right.
away too, right? Like that's other,
Yeah.
So this I'm really intrigued by this one. And Gustavus, well, Gustavus is. I mean, Gustavus is carrying on a tradition, right? Like it's now. I just think I just they're one of the standard bearers, right? For the Midwest and obviously the MIAC, but they're no surprise that they're here. I just think
Right.
it's really great soccer.
Yeah. No, no, they're a bellwether
Yeah.
program for
Although I
sure.
don't think they're happy with the draw. So
No.
or the entire draw.
No,
MPI.
yeah, because they get this game and then they get Augsburg Occidental.
Yeah.
They get Augsburg.
Yeah. Who did they play yet again? Yeah, they lost to early on in the season. I think it's kind of lame, but whatever. So this will be a good one. This is a good one. Like I said, I hate to be not dismissive, but like Gustavus is Gustavus. I comfortable watching them. I know I've seen them. I think they're super
Right.
talented. This is like an Edgewood game for me. Like, do they have what it takes yet to surprise? Have to be able to get to the second round? I don't know.
Yeah, how
How
close are
close
they,
are they?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I mean, from how they've played this
yeah,
year, they're
they're
right
right
there.
there. That's certainly. And
Yeah,
and and
they're doing what they need to do.
and look, what's their MPI? Where are they?
30.
Yeah, so that's not bad either. Like
As I said,
they've got
they
their
got in on their
legit
merit. They didn't
merits.
get
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Even though we don't know how those
yeah.
merits are calculated in
I know.
it's like, all right.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of the things we just mentioned then. Eau Claire and MSOE.
I kind of like this one. I kind of like this one.
So Eau Claire is not the same Eau
No,
Claire.
no. I hate to be so emphatic. Like I know something. They're definitely not.
Right.
Like when you had the Player of the Year up top last year, like that's different. As my sons would say, that's different gravy. And so,
There you go.
um,
But I mean, they're not blowing anybody
no.
away.
Last year they blew guys away. I think this was
No, they were killing
I think
everybody.
this was more of a hey, this we have to work at it a little bit, you know.
Right.
But having said that, like it's not like they even their losses were terrible. I watched the Chicago game. I think they held it together and then
Yeah.
they sort of lost it at the end in the second half. But the Wisconsin schools they kept dominating, right?
So they tied again. It was the beginning of the year. They tied Edgewood, and Edgewood lost to
MSOE.
MSOE twice. Twice. So did that does that tell us anything?
I don't know because I do think this Coach Harrington's MSOE team is actually quite good this year.
These guys played in the regular season, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. They what was the score?
They drew 1-1.
When did they play? Oh,
How often does that
about
happen? Where you get somebody in the first round who you've played in the regular season?
I think that's what some of the gripes been about. Like, why would you do
Right.
that? To like, that's
Right.
not doesn't make it special, you know. Like,
Right.
but yeah, they tied at Eau Claire. I think this will be again. I think this could be a match. Eau Claire's not that super potent offense.
Right.
I think MSOE is defensively really poised,
Yeah.
and I think they can get goals going forward. I don't. So I don't expect this to be a. I mean, I don't expect 0-0. It still might go to penalties, but I expect at least a couple goals to be scored in this game.
Right.
And I think, again, I think this is another one of those games where I think this is a case where Eau Claire's sort of come back to reality a little bit, and MSOE is having that upper year. And so the timing is just right where, well,
Yeah.
this were happened
Yeah.
last year, I'd be like Eau Claire all day long. But I think
Right.
this year is
Right.
just a little bit more unique in that regard. So,
Yeah. No, agreed.
all right. I'm
Next
glad I
one.
know all the scores.
I'm glad you do too.
I have no idea. I really don't.
I don't. I don't.
I think
clearly
I am
don't.
going to go based on what color do I like more, the blue gold of Eau Claire or the red white of MSOE, and I'm just going to choose color.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Next one.
Easy.
Whitman, Texas Lutheran.
Yeah. I don't know much about
Whitman from Walla Walla, Washington,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know much
Going to Texas.
about where are they. Let me pull them up real quick. Where are you?
They're in Walla
Walla
Walla.
Walla, Washington. Sometimes there's also Walla Walla College there, I think. They're NAIA. Why do I know this? This is, again, how do I know? Like, why do I know this? Why do I know this?
So this is one of those crossovers where you look at, common opponents because they actually have some. Like Whitman tied Colorado College. Texas Lutheran
Beat.
played Colorado twice, beat them once, lost once. Whitman played Mary Hardin Baylor and tied them. Texas Lutheran played Mary Hardin Baylor and lost. So
Early on.
they're kind of in the same. They're in the same ballpark. This isn't a 16-1 or 14-3 matchup. This is This is right in the middle.
Isn't this? Don't they play? Doesn't Whitman play in the what's the Northwest where they play everybody twice? Kind of like the. Is it the
Yeah,
Skyac where they play everybody twice?
yeah, right. Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
they play George Fox. That's one place I'd
Yeah.
love to visit. Um, just based on that, I'm kind of like comparable. I know more about Texas Lutheran because I just sort of watch those Texas teams.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, you got to think that Texas is a little
yeah,
stronger here, but I mean, what is Texas? Texas Lutheran's 97 and NPI. Whitman is 60.
MPI wise,
Whitman's
really?
yeah.
Oh, that's,
Whitman's 14 0 and
uh,
6. They haven't
they
lost.
haven't lost, so that's a big booster for them.
14 0 and 6, number 60. Texas Lutheran 12 4 and 3, number 97.
The only thing about that, though, is that right. I mean, well, maybe it's. I mean, they're playing Southwestern. They're playing Trinity. Texas Lutheran is playing like some really, let's say, tough matches. I think sort of get them ready, and I don't know. I'm afraid like I know more about Texas Lutheran than I do about Whitman, and so I'd be like, oh, Texas Lutheran will win all day, but I just don't. I just don't know.
Again, this is one of those. It's kind of like a little bit what we talked about with some of the other
Yeah,
teams that like Lake Forest or Roger Williams. These are second. We'll call it second tier teams that are having very
yeah,
good years. They didn't get in because they were a 500 team that won their conference. They're undefeated. They haven't lost. They have not tasted defeat. That
that's
still says
that's.
something.
I mean, that's again. I go back to that should be the real. What the heck is this? Like I think your record should stand. Like that should be a metric. Like shouldn't just be about your calculation against who you play.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. All right. This will be a tight one, I think. Again, unless
Yeah,
I think this will be.
I think all these
Yeah,
are
yeah,
tight.
yeah. No,
I
this
don't
isn't a
think there's any
gimme.
blowouts here.
This isn't a gimme.
I mean, I think there's blowouts in a
Yeah.
tournament. I don't think any of these are going to be
No, no,
blowouts,
no.
with the exception of maybe um, Hobart Messiah.
Yes, that could to me that's the game that could
That
result
game could
that
get
could
ugly.
get ugly.
Right,
Correct. Correct.
right.
Correct. Hang on a second. Sorry. All
No
right.
worries.
What's next?
Hamden, Sydney, Otterbein.
You just, I mean, you're so evil.
Otterbein scores
They
goals.
do. Much to
They
my
score a lot of
chagrin.
goals.
Much to my chagrin.
Well,
They
they
tied
tied
Mount
they
Union
tied
though,
your purple.
but 2-2, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah, 2-2.
multiple goal game. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they're at 2.5, three goals a game. Like that's how prolific they.
Oh, they've got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they've only been shut out
yeah,
twice against Ohio Northern both
yeah.
times.
Who they
Regular
ended up
season they
beating in
lost 1-0,
PKs at
and then
those.
in the
Yeah,
playoffs they beat them in PKs after a 0-0 game. But I mean they put up 4 against Wilmington, 8 against Heidelberg, 3 against Capital, 3 against Muskegon,
yeah,
3 against Wilmington, 3 against Baldwin
yeah,
Wallace, 3 against Marietta, 2 against
yeah.
Mountain, 2 against Case, 2 against Kenyon,
3 against Denison, although they
3 against
tied against
Denison.
it, right? Like, And
Right.
that to me
Right.
out in Ohio, that is sort of, I use Denison as like how good are you? How can you
We'll
compete?
talk about
Yeah,
them in a
yeah.
minute.
But
But
yeah, I think this is a
so
real team. I mean, this is a real team, a real team.
they're 11-2-6. I got to think they feel like they're kind of getting the raw end of things a little bit here.
Who's going where? Where is this one?
This game is at Hampden, Sydney,
Oh
in
my
Virginia.
gosh. Well, did Hampton Sydney are they did they win the is are they're on their own merits, right? Like they didn't
Yeah, they didn't win
they didn't win the ODAC.
they didn't win
They
the ODAC.
lost, yeah.
They lost in the semifinal.
So then how's that happen?
What do you mean? How's that happen? They got
And
in
they
on their own
host?
merits. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
same thing as
yeah,
Scranton.
yeah, yeah. No, what we talked about earlier, yeah. Like that to
Yeah,
me is
yeah. Hampton's 13-3-2, and they're
yeah.
hosting. And you know who's in that bracket with them. They win this game, they get
Yeah,
Emory.
Emory. Yeah, because Emory will roll Maryville. Sorry, Maryville.
Right.
And then if they keep going, they'll play.
Well,
What?
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you eventually get back to Lynchburg.
Yeah, hang on. The. I don't know. I'm liking myself the Cardinals of Otterbein. I just think they score a lot of goals. They score a lot of goals.
They do, and Hamden. There was the talk from the guys who are following the ODAC was that Hamden was good, but wasn't one or
Yeah.
two.
Maybe they're just battling
So
it out. You know what I mean? Like, whereas I don't want to say that Otterbein doesn't battle, but it's real fluid for them to again score. Like they're just sort of leaning on their offense. Yeah, just score more goals than the other guy, and they're clearly doing that. So, but I don't know why they would. Well, okay, whatever. I won't. I don't want to go down that road.
Well, I don't know why they did it. I don't know how that
Well,
works out either.
yeah.
But
Humana. 13-3-2.
yeah, I mean, they lost to Christopher Newport and they
Bridgewater.
lost to Bridgewater and they lost to Washington
Yeah.
Lake.
And even though they're good, the loss of Bridgewater surprises me. Again, another weird, another. I don't think they've been all that.
Right. No, Bridgewater over outkicked their
Yeah.
coverage. They beat Lynchburg 2-0.
Yeah, which is so their only loss, I think. I think that's Lynchburg's only loss.
Yeah.
All right. All right, next.
Last
Last
one.
one.
Washington and Lee Denison.
I mean, can I just tell you how much of this I did throughout the season with both of these teams?
Well, so let me ask you about that. Like Denison, they're 31. And there was talk like they were, last team in or on the bubble.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Like, and that's why I don't understand the MPI. They've got two losses, both of them to the
Same
same
team.
team. They lost to
Yeah,
DePaul
yeah,
twice. They beat everybody
yeah.
else, with the exception of a tie here or there.
But again, I don't know when this stuff. Again, I don't. Right,
And I get
Hopkins
well,
was Hopkins and Franklin and Marshall. usually top 20
Right,
material, not top 20, right?
right. I mean, they played a decent. Granted, yeah, these teams were down. Kenyon was down.
Mm-hmm.
Hopkins was down. F&M was down. Stevens was
Yeah.
down. But they took care of
Yeah.
business. I mean, they beat Hopkins 4-0. They beat F&M
Yeah.
4-0. I watched that Stevens game. They only won 1-0, but they dominated
Against
that game.
Pauls, I hate to say, like, just.
They beat Kenyon 2-1. They beat Ohio Wesleyan 1-0. And these are teams that are down. They didn't thump them, but I just don't understand why there's not more love for Denison.
Yeah. Well, again, I think this is where we run into the trap with the MPI, right? Like the MPI is just churning out a number, and we're relying on that number to rank people,
Right,
right? And it doesn't
right,
take into account. You're like, no, that's right. The individual games and how they did, and sort of all of that human sort of instinct stuff. But that's what makes
right.
it hard, right? And that's how you end up. But I will say this game, like and I still am on Denison, uh, very high on them, and DePaul just seemed to have their
Yeah,
number
right. For
for
whatever
whatever
reason.
reason. And I'm still very high on Denison. I think they can play. I think they are the best team. I'll just say in Ohio.
And I think they got shafted
Yeah,
though because they get a Washington elite team who
right.
this is not an easy
No.
game for them. Denison you think should have got a better matchup, but they get Washington elite, and then if they win that game, they're going to get
Yeah.
Dickinson.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on, man. I mean,
Yeah.
they got a tough
Correct.
draw.
Correct. To get out of Carlisle could be exceedingly difficult
Yeah,
unless Dickinson stumbles out of the gate, which I don't anticipate them doing. I think they're good. They're good enough now where they should.
I I think I'm buying Dickinson
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
Like, we talked about them a little bit in the
Yeah.
beginning
Like
of the year, and I just
yeah.
wasn't
Convince
buying
me some
them.
more. I think they've convinced. Right.
Right.
Like
I
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think then just sort of manhandling Hopkins, like just yeah, just like steamrolled them. Um, yeah, I just
And but first Denison's going to get through Washington and
yeah,
Lee. I mean, what? That's
yeah. And
this is another game. This is another game that could get ugly. I have a feeling.
I totally could see that happening. I really could. I could see three going in on either way.
Well, I don't know if any. I don't think Washington Lee is going to score three in Denison, but I think Denison can win this game 3-0. I don't think they will, but I think
They
they could.
could. I don't doubt that at all. I do, but I also
Like
do see.
it wouldn't shock me.
I could see maybe not three goals. I don't know, but
No.
if I'm Washington and Lee, I'm watching the DePaul games very clearly. Yeah,
Oh yes,
like I'll just watch
spending all
DePaul.
my
What did
time watching
DePaul
those two
do?
games.
I
Right.
think they pressed them all over the place, made it really hard for them to play, and just
Right.
right and see if you can't combine that. I think there's something about DePaul though that I'm not sure. I think Washington and Lee has maybe better soccer. I know that's terrible, but like, I think they have better soccer than DePaul does, and so can they press the living daylights out of Denison? I don't know,
Right.
but I think I I do think it's like I think a lot of times when they going into the tournament, like little things do matter in terms of sort of like your mental preparation for the game. I gotta believe like their reaction was, "Hey, we made it! Oh my God, what are we going to Carlisle?" Right to your point
Right.
earlier, like that up down, like, "Hey, this is great, but oh man, if we win, we gotta play." Right? So I
Right.
I wonder how much of that. Whereas I think if you're Washington and Lee, right, like hey, we made it. Like we're in. We were into the dance, and I don't know
Yeah,
because they didn't win. Um, they lost to
they
Lynchburg,
didn't win the
right?
ODEC.
Like I just
Right.
think, I just
They were up in
yeah,
that
they
game
were,
too. I think
they
they were
were.
up on nothing, weren't they?
I watched it. I'm like, oh, I don't think Lynchburg comes back, and then all of a sudden they scored. I'm like, whoa, we got a game, and yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if because I do think that there's been a lot. There's been a lot more hype. I don't know if that's the right word. A lot more hype around Denison than there was about Washington and Lee. I think everybody, including
Yeah.
myself, after first 5, 6 games, people were like, Washington and Lee is done, right? And
Well, yeah, they couldn't win. They didn't win the first
yeah,
5 games.
so yeah,
But I mean, they haven't really played that big a schedule
yeah,
either. I mean, they played they lost to Emory. They played a weakened
yeah,
Oglethorpe, a weakened Mary
yeah. All the
Washington.
yeah.
They tied Catholic. They tied Christopher Newport, but then they lost to Lynchburg twice.
Did Mary
So I don't know.
Mary Washington didn't even make it, did they?
No,
Yeah.
they're 9-7-3.
Like how far they've fallen. Like I said, just totally bizarre year for me. Like just totally bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right.
You know, I think that's one of the problems when you rely on senior
Yeah.
classes,
Yeah.
and you're seeing it with Amherst too. When you have a strong senior class,
Well, it's like you place your bet,
I
like I'm
think
placing my bet on this freshman class coming in,
right,
and I'm 4 years we're going to be rocking it. And I think
right,
that's hard. You do suffer the consequences of that.
right, right,
Um,
right.
I also think, and when no one's really talking about, is like how impact. And I don't know. I'm just how impactful is it that like there's no 50 years, there's no right, like
Yeah,
all of that, the whole COVID thing, like that's all gone. Like
it's all
this is
gone
year
now.
one
Yeah,
of that, and look, I don't want to parody is not the right word. Maybe it is the right word. I just on the women's side, it was a lot clearer. Like WashU was just rolling through,
hmm
right, just rolling through because they're the team to beat. It's their tournament to lose. On the men's side, I wasn't kidding. I didn't do a top 25. I could never figure out who wanted to be a top
right,
25. Like I'm like, you
right.
guys lose at the worst possible time. I think you're doing it on purpose to upset me, and then because it is all about me. And so I'm like, I can't get a read on anybody. I said I'm super high on Denison. Denison, like just goes through that 2 games. I think it was they lost, they tied, and just kind of like, I think the only one who I'm kind of like the 2 teams that I would say if you were to ask me like, hey, what is the 2 teams that you're sort of looking at right now that I think these are really interesting? Just 3, and one of them just lost. Dickinson, Augsburg, and Chicago. I'm like, those are the ones. Those are the 3 teams that to me, I'm just kind of like,
Right.
wow, you guys are really doing something that I wasn't necessarily expecting, or as I was expecting more, and so you've delivered.
Right.
I'm not saying Tufts doesn't deserve all the credit for being. They're looking awesome. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying from where I started to where I've come along to these guys, like they're the ones who are
hmm
surprising me this year.
Right.
And yeah, that's and who's gonna win it? I'm if I'll just say regionally, if I was going to if I have to pick a winner, I'm going to say it's an East Coast team. I just think it's going to be.
Okay.
I think that's. I always keep saying, oh, Midwest, West, Texas, Trinity. Could this be Trinity's year? I don't think so. I don't have that level
No.
of conviction on those teams,
Right.
and as much as I think Oxy's going to have a run, I I don't think they're Lutheran.
Well, Oxy's got
Yeah,
Augsburg
right out of the
first game.
gate. Like that's just really hard.
Right.
They're gonna at
Right.
Augsburg, right? Yeah. So it's gonna be like minus 10. No, that's an exaggeration.
Right.
Maybe 20 degrees
Right.
out.
Right.
And they're going to be coming off of a flight from Cali.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how they do that. Don't go in your bus. Be a man. Stand out in the corner. Take your instruction at halftime and go play.
There you go.
That's what what's their names did last year. Went on the bus because it was too cold at Middlebury.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then that's when they knew they lost.
Yeah.
Be a man. Stay outside.
That's not good.
That's all I got.
All right. That's all I got.
Expect a package. We are gonna take care of you. We're like the Borg. We are assimilating you. All right, brother.
Funny. All right, get those picks
Yeah.
in, man.
Well, yeah. What's the rules? Like, you got to explain the rules there really quick on the OT penalty kicks.
On the OT, so OT winner is a win. So a draw is going to penalties.
Right.
So it's not at the end of regulation.
It's
It
OT.
is at the end of overtime.
OT is part of the game.
Yep.
So
So
you either win it in OT,
OT is part
or
of the
you
game.
end up as a
Yep.
tie. And that's what you're
Yep.
you're picking. You're picking the tie at the end of OT.
Yeah, so if you think it's a tie,
Right.
you're picking penalty kicks.
Kind of like the Oneonta Babson game will end in a tie. But I won't tell you the score.
So that's going to
Yeah.
penalties, is what you're saying. There will be no overtime
There
winner.
will be no overtime winner. Okay. All right, get your picks in down
All right,
below.
simple as that.
All right, brother.
Yep.